Okay, navigators, in today's episode, I am going to break down the basic workflow that led us to our very first AI-generated podcast episode. So let's not waste any time. I have shared my screen for the first step of this workflow, which is just doing the research for our daily digest episode. I've been having a lot of success and using the O3 model and deep research over in ChatGPT. The next tool in our workflow here is HeyGen. If you haven't used HeyGen before, essentially it's going to allow you to create a video avatar of yourself. Now, the next part is very important, and it's actually where 11 Labs comes into the mix, and I'm hopping over into the 11 Labs interface here. For anybody watching, I would highly recommend using their professional voice clone. So ChatGPT to HeyGen to 11 Labs, and then Descript to scale out our video content here that you saw in our previous episode.
Welcome to the AI Marketing Navigator, where we simplify AI marketing to keep you ahead of the curve. Brought to you by Digital Pop, delivering AI marketing automation so your small business thrives. Here's your host, Alex Carlson.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the AI Marketing Navigator. This is your daily compass in the ever-evolving world of AI marketing. Okay, navigators, in today's episode, I am going to break down the basic workflow that led us to our very first AI-generated podcast episode, which was our previous episode, episode 334. It was a daily digest that was delivered by your AI version of me, which we are calling AI Alex here. Okay, so let's not waste any time. I have shared my screen for the first step of this workflow, which is just doing the research for our daily digest episode. Typically, I would use Perplexity. I'm trying something a little different and using ChatGPT because I've been having a lot of success and really been enjoying using the O3 model and deep research over in ChatGPT. If you'll recall, or if you haven't checked out our episode from the other day, our daily digest, we talked about Sakana AI and their new continuous thought machines, CTMs. We did a rundown of the new AI features that have been rolled out in Figma for any of the Figma users in the Navigator audience. Maybe not the most important marketing topic, but the last one we covered, I had to include when I came across it in a rundown.ai newsletter, and that is that researchers at that Carnegie Mellon Institute, or the AI Institute there, have allowed or created Lego GPT, which allows you to do text-to-Lego prompts, text-to-Lego instruction prompts, essentially imagination to buildable blueprint, as we talked about in our daily digest the other day, which, like I said then, it has to be every child's dream, or like me, if you're an adult, a Lego-loving adult, their dream as well. Anyway, if you are watching along on video, you can see the prompt that we worked on with ChatGPT O3. Very simple. I basically asked it to do some deep research on our 3 topics, but to output the results in a quick and concise bulleted format that can be broken down into a 10-minute podcast episode. I asked for citations to be included with each fact. So deep research is going to include sources and citations anyway. I just wanted to make sure that they were tagged with the individual information or data points. What you're also seeing here, and as most reasoning or thinking models will do at this point, is ask clarifying, or the asking of some clarifying questions, asking me exactly how I would like to compare Sakana CTMs to the current reasoning architectures, if my Figma AI features should be focused specifically on the Config conference that they recently had. It also wanted to know what specifically we wanted to focus on when it came to Lego ChatGPT or Lego GPT. So I provided it a little bit of feedback and it began its reasoning process. You are seeing the results here now of that reasoning. We have a very well cited, a very well thought out overview of continuous thought machines, of the Figma Config conference with all of its announcements, and Lego GPT by Carnegie Mellon. And this is what I used to dictate the script and then input to our avatar for our video episode. And that's basically it for the ChatGPT part of our workflow. Simply doing the deep research, helping us generate our script, or at least the foundation for our script. Of course, I would not recommend you copy and paste from this whatsoever for your script. I would highly recommend you do what we do, which is a direct dictation, just in an effort to impart as much of your voice, as much of the human touch to the process as possible. Now, and I should clarify what I mean when I say direct dictation. I don't mean that I'm just directly reading from the output here. That would be essentially the same as copying and pasting it. What I mean is I am going through and I'm summarizing, I'm adding my own input, my own insights, a little bit of our AI Marketing Navigator voice to the information, and I'm just using it as the source. So that's what I mean when I say direct dictation. So now the next step would typically be go to HeyGen now and start to generate our video with their avatar, with the voice there. And we actually used 11 Labs voice, the professional voice clone, which is by far and away the most impressive voice clone AI tech that we've come across. And we will talk about how you can do that in a second. But before we get into HeyGen, what I did with the dictated script was I brought it over into Claude and I said, basically asked Claude, I said, please add all the correct punctuation or at least the appropriate punctuation so that an AI voice avatar could read this appropriately or correctly. So when I first started to put this into HeyGen and when we first started to test the results, the punctuation errors that are just natural with the dictation technology, I use Whisper Flow. We've talked about that before as well. But those little punctuation oddities from dictation really degraded the quality of our AI generated audio. It was still pretty amazing, but something that can be pretty easily removed or resolved with Claude and make quite a difference in the end result. And that's what you're seeing here now on the screen if you're watching along, is this little cleaned up version in an artifact from Claude of our script. Okay, so as I said, the next tool in our workflow here is HeyGen. If you haven't used HeyGen before, definitely check out the episodes that we've done on it in the past. We will do a quick little rundown here of what you can see on the screen and what you're going to see on the screen when you go through this process, how you can use those things. But there are a bunch of different features. Essentially, it's going to allow you to create a video avatar of yourself. We just did an episode on their new feature, the photo to video avatar with Avatar 4, but you're going to want to go through their traditional avatar creation process to create a hyper realistic one, at least for the scaled video content use case that we're talking about today. Now, I already have a plan where I've purchased my avatar, so I would have to purchase some additional ones here, but you should be able to create one, at least one with the basic plan that we have here as well. And again, check out our other videos on HeyGen to look more into the pricing, or check out the link in the show notes. But you are going to be able to create varying levels of realistic avatars. The hyper realistic one is the first one you're seeing on the screen here. That's where you're going to use videos or photos, primarily videos, to build a, again, hyper realistic avatar. You can also use just photos, whether they're custom or of yourself, to create an avatar, or you can generate an avatar as well, basically a prompt to avatar feature that they have here, where you can create one just by describing its appearance, its attributes, using text prompts. But once you've created your avatar, that's what you're going to be able to use in your video. So you can see the one we have created here, a hyper realistic one. So if we were to go ahead and create a video like we did for our workflow in the previous episode, you're going to decide if you want it to be a portrait or a landscape. Of course, you have all these other options here where you can take a URL, you can use a template, you can upload a PowerPoint, generate a script, but we're just going to go and start from scratch. And we typically do landscape videos, so we did that for our episode as well. And then you'll find yourself in the video editor, and it's a pretty simple, intuitive process. We're not going to do a deep dive on the video editor here today, but again, basically you select your avatar. We're going to select the hyper realistic one of myself, and that's going to generate your video with the background and the avatar that is going to be used. You'll also notice that you can add multiple looks, so different backgrounds or different appearances for your avatar. I think on our plan, you get 300 right now. So you can add a lot of different variation and creative styles to your avatar. But once you have added your look or selected your look, you can then add various different elements to your video. You can even start with a template. Again, we're not going to get too deep into these options, but they have several templates for you to use. You will, of course, add a script, which is what we're going to do here in a second. You can add different text elements to your video. And now that I think about it some more, I would maybe have liked to add a text element like flashing across the screen for our previous AI generated video saying that this was AI. We did, of course, disclose that it was AI at the beginning of the episode, but going forward, I'm going to probably do one of two things, actually. I'm thinking of ordering t-shirts that just say I am AI and wearing those or using those in the looks for any AI generated content, or at least just flashing lettering or text across the screen. I think those are both probably appropriate for the time being. Again, you get the disclosure at the beginning, but for shorts or any other clips where we're using AI generated content, it might not necessarily include that clip of the disclosure, or if it gets clipped from any other place on the internet. So anyway, all that to say, I think the constant disclosure might even be a better idea. Okay, back to our editor here. You can add other elements to your video as well as assets that you have uploaded. But basically the next step is to add our script. So we're going to come over into our script, and we're just going to copy and paste the dictated script that we have. I'm just going to use today's episode. The first thing you're noticing here, if you're watching along in video, is that it pops up as red, and it says that our script is too long. Down here at the bottom, you'll notice that each script can actually only be 2,000 characters. But if you click out here, it'll automatically actually break up your script, your original one, into multiple ones. So super nice little feature there. Now, the next part is very important, and it's actually where 11 Labs comes into the mix. And I'm hopping over into the 11 Labs interface here. for anybody watching. We've also done several episodes on this tool, one of our favorites. Again, not the point of this episode, but I would highly recommend using their professional voice clone. If you're going to do any of the scaling of video content that we're doing, you can do an instant voice clone or a professional. The professional is going to require 30 minutes of audio, so be prepared to record that, lay that down, or use an existing recording that you might have. But the results are honestly incredible, and that's what we're going to use back here in HeyGen. Up here at the top of our scripts, or at the top of your script, you can see there's a place to select a voice, and it'll bring up a choose voice option. You can create a new voice, or you can integrate a third-party voice, and this is where you can integrate the 11 Labs voice. In 11 Labs, if you're in your account, you can just go to your account settings or your workspace, and you can very simply click API keys and generate your API key to use. You enter that in HeyGen when you integrate your third-party voice, your 11 Labs voice, and then under My Voices, you're going to have that as an option to select for your script. So one thing to note here is if you did split the script into multiples, you'll have to select that voice for each individual script. And honestly, that's kind of the end of the hard stuff, guys. That's the extent of the the technical stuff. You can play each bits of the audio here once they've been pasted in, and you can generate them using your voice. You won't be able to see any of the animation for your video until you submit it, but I highly recommend you listen through to all the audio to catch any potential things that you want to edit or change. This is how I caught the fact that those little punctuation subtleties make a big difference. Again, if you recall, we mentioned that we use Claude to just clean up some punctuation or add the appropriate punctuation across our script. So highly recommend doing that as well. So once you've listened and you've got the sound for your episode down and you're happy with the AI generated voice, go ahead and submit your video. Something to look out for, and something that happened the first time I submitted, there was apparently some additional portion of video of the avatar that did not have a script. So watch out for that. It'll throw a little warning. It could be something that was just an issue with the first time of us using it. I didn't notice and maybe forgot to clip it off, but I ended up just cutting it out in the post edit where I threw it into Descript for publishing. So I guess technically you can add Descript to our list of tools that we use in our workflow. So ChatGPT to Claude to HeyGen to 11 Labs, and then Descript to scale out our video content here that you saw in our previous episode. Okay, so if you have been doing this as well, building out some AI generated video or AI generated audio, or if you want to do this, definitely hit me up in the comments. Let me know how it's been going for you. If you have been doing it, any tips or tricks, any feedback that you have gotten from listeners. If you are interested in doing this and you have questions, of course, hit me up as well. And again, if the episode from the other day that was AI generated, completely AI generated, if you feel like that was complete garbage or unlistenable, let me know about that too. I am genuinely curious to know. Okay, that does it for today's episode. If you enjoyed the show or found it useful in any way, please do me a favor and follow on Spotify or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. A review on top of that would be even more appreciated and is by far the most helpful thing you could do for the show. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you get notified each time we drop an episode. Until then, and as always, thank you so much for joining me, and remember to stay curious, stay consistent, and keep navigating forward. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the AI Marketing Navigator. Ready to simplify your own marketing automation? Digital Pop helps make it happen so your small business can scale your marketing fast. Learn more at thedigitalpop.com.